Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to assignment number 6 of A Raisin in the Sun. We are seeing a new Walter, right? A Walter that we haven't seen yet this entire play. This is the Walter that could be. In fact, this is the Walter that should be, right? Because take a look at him now. He's beyond happy right now. He has purpose. Most importantly, he has a dream, and he has a very important dream, right? This idea of going and getting and becoming not just a business owner, but becoming independent, financially independent, becoming respected, becoming a member of society that not only other people can respect, but most importantly, that he can respect himself finally, because that's what's been kept away from him, the idea of self-respect. Now, what has changed Walter in this point? Why is he so happy now? Much different than what we've seen him before. Think about what he was just a week ago. It was the exact opposite of this extreme elation. And what is it that's been happening that has changed? Yes, Mama has given him the money. Now, let's talk about how much money. How much money did Mama get for the insurance? $10,000. How much did Walter, I'm going to say, demand for his business? How much did he demand that they give to him, that, his sister and his wife convince Mama to give to him so that he can open up his business? And I recall that he wanted the whole 10,000. In fact, if you remember, his deal with Willie Harris and Bobo was that they would each put in $10,000. And a little bit more on the side. Remember, they had to bribe some people, some officials and whatnot, which the minute Benita heard that, and Ruth, I believe, was when they realized that this was, I think they knew beforehand, but clearly the minute you start mentioning bribes, you don't want to have anything to do with it, because not only are they not guaranteed, but of course they are illegal. And yeah, so that's probably one of the reasons why they got out of it. Also, they don't want to sell liquor and they don't want to open up a business because they don't have any business experience. But anywho, no, he needed the full 10,000. Mom only gave him 6,500. Recall, what did she do with the other 3,500? That is correct. She put it down on a down payment for the house. And you may or may not understand that when you buy a home, you pay it down unless you have, $500,000, like however much money it takes to buy a house. Let's say it's $500,000 these days for a house that you're going to buy. Unless you have $500,000, and some people do, God bless them if they do, then you put all the money down. But most people get what's called a mortgage, and then you put a down payment down. Probably put down $50,000 or $100,000. I believe they would want $100,000, 20% of the $500,000. So you would put $100,000 down, and yes, you would still owe $400,000, and you would pay that on a monthly basis, right? So Mama has paid the $3,500. They don't own the house. That was a down payment, so they're still going to have to work, correct, in order to make those monthly payments. But eventually, after 30 years, that house is theirs, and there are no more mortgage payments, and it is completely owned by them. They'll still have to pay taxes and whatnot, but whatever. But Walter was only given $6,500, but that was enough to make him have his dream. Now, again, I don't think it's the money that's making him so happy. It's the dream. Now, the money is what he needs to make his dream happen, but it's the fact that he now has a chance, and he is beyond happy. So that's where we pick it up with Walter still in that unbelievable. We found out he went to the movies with Ruth. They held hands with Ruth. Right now, he came in and he put music on and he is dancing with Ruth around the room. It's wonderful. It's a great Walter to see. It's the Walter that I said not only could be, but should be. Why not? He has all this intelligence and all these dreams. Listen, Walter, stopping momentarily. What kind of Negroes? He says this in fun. He is not angry with her today because remember, Benita said talk about old-fashioned Negroes because of the way he was dancing. And again, this is nice. Benita and Walter are now what I would say joshing with each other. They're not trying to hurt each other. They're trying to make each other smile. They're having fun with each other. So again, he says this in fun. He is not angry with her today, nor with anyone. Think about that statement, that he's not angry with anyone, which is indicative of the fact that he's almost all the time angry with not just some people, but with everyone. And why does Walter have all this anger? Of course, we know it because his dreams have been deferred in his entire life. And now he has his dream. His mother gave him that dream, right? So Benita, old-fashioned Walter, as he dances with Ruth. When these new Negroes have their convention, pointing at his sister, That is going to be the chairman of the Committee on Unending Agitation. He goes on dancing, then stops. Now, just listen to what he said. He's just joking again. He says she's going to be the chairman of the Committee on Unending Agitation. Now, to agitate people. So he's saying that she agitates him. But again, he's doing this in a nice way. He loves his sister very much. And notice, now that he has his dream, he has no problem with her. He goes on dancing, then stops. Race, race, race. Girl, I do believe you are the first person in the history of the entire human race to successfully brainwash yourself. Benita breaks up and he goes on dancing. He stops again, enjoying his tease. Damn, even the NAACP takes a holiday sometimes. Benita and Ruth laugh. See, right now, he's not making fun of his sister at all. Actually, what is he saying about her? That she never stops fighting for race relations, for equality. And that's a damn good thing for somebody to never stop fighting for, right? For the equality of everybody. So he's not mocking his sister, actually. I think he's throwing her a compliment. But for him, throwing her a compliment isn't going to happen that easily, so he's going to do it as a joke instead. Benita and Ruth laugh. He dances with Ruth some more and starts to laugh and stops and pantomimes someone over an operating table. I can just see that chick someday looking down at some poor cat on an operating table, and before she starts to slice him, she says, pulling his sleeves back maliciously, by the way, what are your views on civil rights down there? He laughs at her again and starts to dance happily. The bell sounds. Benita, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And again, he didn't hurt her right now. I think she's happy that he's pointing out that she's constantly fighting for freedom and always worried about equality, which is a great thing. Benita, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Benita goes to the door and opens it as Walter and Ruth go on with their clowning. Benita is somewhat surprised to see a quiet-looking middle-aged white man in a business suit holding his hat and a briefcase in his hand and consulting a small piece of paper. So I wonder how many white men Benita has ever actually even seen at her door, because I don't think many white people would want to go here, which is, awful, but indicative of how awful the white people were in that time period. And look how uncomfortable this man is right now. So he's looking at his piece of paper and man, how do you do, miss? I'm looking for Mrs. He looks at the slip of paper. Mrs. Lena Younger. He stopped short, struck dumb at the sight of the oblivious Walter and Ruth. So then he looks over the shoulder and he sees Walter and Ruth in the background dancing and clowning around and having a great time. So he's kind of stuck staring at them. Benita, smoothing her hair with slight embarrassment. Stop right there. Smoothing her hair with slight embarrassment. When they say smoothing her hair, remember, she cut her hair and she's allowing it to be natural. So when she sees this white man sitting at her door, her instinct, and she gets embarrassed, is to slick it back and to make it look more like the white people would want to do, would want her to have. So instantly, things have changed that we have this man at the door. I guess what I'm saying is it's probably not good news. And Benita, I think, is registering that right away. But let's continue. Maybe I'm wrong. Smoothing her hair with slight embarrassment. Oh, yes, that's my mother. Excuse me. She closes the door and turns to quiet the other two. Ruth, brother, and watch this. Enunciating precisely but soundlessly. Watch me. She says, now, did you see that? She doesn't say it because she's afraid this man outside is going to hear her through the door, which he probably would. So she says soundlessly, there's a white man at the door. In other words, you two, you've got to, and it makes me angry and I'm going to get more mad. This is their home. Why should they have to smooth their hair or look anyway or act anyway? Why can't they dance and have fun and whatnot? But again, in this time period where they have to be careful with this white man at the door. They still don't even know why he is there. Again, I told you this play gets me angry sometimes, and I apologize. So she enunciates precisely but soundlessly. They stop dancing. Ruth cuts off the phonograph. Benita opens the door. The man casts a curious, quick glance at all of them. Come in, please. Man, coming in. Thank you. Benita, my mother's in here just now. Is it business? Man, yes, well, of a sort. Walter, freely, the man of the house. All right, first of all, what does that mean? Well, of a sort. I mean, it's either business or it's not business. So already he seems uncomfortable with the reason why he is there. Or is it just that he is uncomfortable because he is here? Now, go back to Walter, and this is really the man of the house. Remember where we have Walter and what frame of mind he is. This is the happy Walter. This is the dreaming Walter again, right? His dreams are not deferred right now. So Walter is not in this conversation the way he would have been just a week ago when his dreams were being deferred. And he was not only mistrustful of everybody, but he was angry at everybody. Right now, I don't think he's either with this person or with anybody else because, again, his dreams are not being deferred. Let's continue. Ruth and Benita exchange. Walter, freely, man of the house. Have a seat. I'm Mrs. Younger's son. I look after most of her business matters. Ruth and Benita exchanged amused glances. Now, that is a funny statement because it's so new, but in a weird way, it's true, right? He said, I look after most of my mother's business matters. Right now, he kind of does because remember, she gave him all the money. So he's looking after that money. But I like the fact that he's the way he says it. You know, I look after the business matters. I'm the businessman now. Why again? Because he is. He's happy. He's doing what he believes he's good at and what he is good at. Let's continue. Ruth and Benita exchanged amused glances. Man, regarding Walter and sitting. Well, my name is Carl Linder. Walter, stretching out his hand. Walter Younger. This is my wife. Ruth nods politely. And my sister, Linder. How do you do? Walter, amiably, as he sits himself easily on a chair, leaning forward on his knees with interest and looking expectantly into the newcomer's face. What can we do for you, Mr. Linder? Linder, some minor shuffling of the hat and briefcase on his knees. Well, I am a representative of the Clybourne Park Improvement Association. Walter pointing. Why don't you sit your things on the floor? Oh, yes, thank you. He slides the briefcase and hat under the chair. Now, go back for a second. He said he is a representative of the Clybourne Park Improvement Association. Now, Clybourne Park is if you recall, is where Mama has bought the new house, where they are moving today, right? Now, he says he's from the Clybourne Park Improvement Association. You have all possibly, well, I don't know if all of you, but a lot of you have lived in Union your entire lives, right? Have you ever heard of the Union Improvement Association? I've never heard. I've lived in Montclair my entire life. I've never heard of a Montclair Improvement Association. Possibly they exist. Maybe this is something old, but already I'm a little bit weirded out. My radar is up. Let's continue. Walter pointing. Why don't you sit your things on the floor? Linder, oh yes, thank you. He slides the briefcase and hat under the chair. And as I was saying, I am from the Clybourne Park Improvement Association, and we have had it brought to our attention at the last meeting that you people, or at least your mother, has bought a piece of residential property at, he digs for the slip of paper again, 406 Clybourne Street. Okay, I just want to say there was a phrase in there that kind of threw me, made my radar go off. The fact that he said at our attention, had brought to our attention at the last meeting that you people, and then he says, or at least your mother. Like the fact that he calls them people is very interesting rather than that just you bought a home, but you people. He's separating them out somehow from other people. But let's continue. I could be possibly wrong. Walter, that's right. Care for something to drink? Ruth, get Mr. Linder a beer. Linder, upset for some reason. Oh, no, really. I mean, thank you very much, but no, thank you. Ruth, innocently, some coffee? Thank you, nothing at all. Now, this is also interesting. Why is he upset that they offer him a drink? Maybe is he upset because it's alcohol? I don't know. That shouldn't upset you. You just say, no, thank you. It's the daytime. I'm on business. I don't drink. It's not my thing. But then she also innocently asks him for some coffee, and he says, thank you, nothing at all. I'm wondering if Mr. Linder was not expecting to be treated nicely. Remember, Mama teaches her family, and Mama as well, treats everybody with respect, no matter who they are, no matter if they treat you with respect back. But let's continue. Benita is watching the man carefully. All right, so I want to point that out. So while Ruth and Walter and Linder are having this conversation, Benita's standing off to the side, and she's watching this man carefully. What does that tell you? When you watch somebody carefully, what does that tell you? What are you doing? At this point, you're seeing what it is that they're saying, but more importantly, how are they acting, right? What are they doing? Why are they there? The fact that Benita is watching him carefully means I don't think she trusts him. Linder, well, I don't know how much you folks know about our organization. He is a gentleman, thoughtful and somewhat labored in his manner. It is one of these community organizations set up to look after Oh, things like block upkeep and special projects. And we also have what we call our new neighbors orientation committee. Ah, there it is. I'm sorry, I've been wrong. He's from the new neighbors orientation committee. That actually sounds nice, right? But again, how many, I'm going to ask this, I was being sarcastic, by the way. How many people, if you've ever bought a new home, how many times do you think the neighbors come to meet you before you even get there? Like to look you up, find out where you live, and then come out and find you and talk to you just to say, welcome to the neighborhood. That not only sounds weird, it sounds ridiculous, actually. That's actually going to cost money to send somebody out there and do that, to go wherever they live. You don't know where they're moving from, so they could be going very far and paying all that money and time. So I don't trust this. Beneath it, dryly. And dryly means she's like, yes, and what do they do? In other words, I think it's more of like a sarcastic answer. She doesn't believe him either. Linder, turning a little to her, and then returning to his main force to Walter. Well, it's what you might call sort of a welcoming committee, I guess. I mean, I am the chairman of the committee, go around and see the new people who move into the new neighborhood and sort of give them the lowdown on the way we do things out in Clybourne Park. Benita, with appreciation of the two meanings which escape Ruth and Walter. Benita says, Now listen, two meanings, which means he's saying one thing, but he means something else. Now, it says, which escape Ruth and Walter. Ruth and Walter haven't caught it yet. They're going to catch it very soon. But Benita has been, her radar's been up from the minute this man showed up at her door. So she's listening and she's watching. I want to read what he says again. Can you catch the other meaning of what he's saying? He says, well, it's what you might sort of call a welcoming committee. I guess, I'm the chairman of the committee, go around and see how the new people who move into the neighborhood and sort of give them the lowdown on the way we do things out in Clybourne Park. So on the one hand, he's saying, I'm here to welcome you. But on the other hand, is he welcoming them? Has he said, welcome to the new neighborhood? Has he shaken their hands? Has he asked them anything about coming or whatnot? No, he hasn't been very welcoming at all. I think Benita understands. His true meaning is not here to welcome them at all. It would be the opposite. And what is the opposite of welcoming somebody? Well, if you say, welcome to somebody, come into my home or into my neighborhood, that's welcoming them. The opposite is rejecting them. Is he here to reject them, to tell them not to come? Listen, Linder. And we also have the category of what the association calls, he looks elsewhere, special community problems. Now, notice that. He looks elsewhere. He can't look at Walter when he says special community problems. Listen to what he said. We also have the category of these problems, these special community problems. So wait a minute, one category is welcoming and the other are these special problems, these special community problems. Since he didn't look at Walter, which one do the youngers fall in? Benita, yes. And what are some of those? Walter, girl, let the man talk. Linder, with understated relief. Thank you. I would sort of like to explain this thing in my own way. I mean, I want to explain it to you in a certain way. Go ahead. Linder, well, yes. I'm going to try to get right to the point. I'm sure we'll all appreciate that in the long run. Benita, yes. Walter, be still now. Linder, well. Ruth, still innocently, would you like another chair? You don't look comfortable. Now, that's interesting that Ruth would say that. Remember, this is a play. We're not watching this. We're reading right. And the fact that Ruth says to him, you don't look very comfortable, well, what does that mean? He's in his chair and he's not relaxing himself. He's probably fidgeting. He's probably sitting in a way that shows that he's not very comfortable, that he's ready to jump up at any moment. Why is he not very comfortable? I thought you were part of the welcoming committee, Mr. Linder. Let's see how he responds. More frustrated than annoyed. No, thank you very much. Please, well, to get right to the point, a great breath, and he is off at last. I'm sure you people must be aware of some of the incidents which have happened in various parts of the city when colored people have moved into certain areas. Benita exhales heavily and starts tossing a piece of fruit up and down in the air. So while he say that, Benita over there goes, because she knows what crap this guy is selling right now. Now, what did he just say? I'm sure you must be aware of some of the incidents which have happened in various parts of the city. Well, actually, we are aware of some of those incidents. Why? Because of the certain neighbor, Miss Johnson, came over the other day and showed us the newspaper. And what was those incidents that are occurring in the other parts of the city? The fact that black people are being bombed out of these white neighborhoods. So he just came in and said, I'm sure you're aware that this is happening. Now, guys and gals, Is he threatening them? Is he pointing out that this is what has happened to other people? So you better watch out. It might be happening to you. Because remember, there's more ways to threaten people than to actually say, I'm going to do this to you. Just mentioning it might be a threat. Listen. By the way, that's why Benita exhales. She knows now exactly what is going on here. This man is here to intimidate them out of their new home, to keep them out of the white neighborhood. Listen, well, because we have what I think is going to be a unique type of organization in American community life. Not only do we deplore that kind of thing, in other words, he's saying we don't like it when people bomb people out or anything. We're against that. That's what he's saying. Oh, that's so terrible. That we're against it. But we are trying to do something about it. Benita stops tossing and turns with a new and quizzical interest to the man. We feel, gaining confidence in his mission because of the interest in the faces of the people he is talking to, we feel that most of the trouble in this world, when you come right down to it, he hits his knee for emphasis, most of the trouble exists because people just don't sit down and talk to each other. Ruth, nodding as she might in church, pleased with the remark. You can say that again, mister. They're more encouraged by such affirmation, that we don't try hard enough in this world to understand the other fellow's problem, the other guy's point of view. Now that's right. Benita and Walter merely watch and listen with genuine interest. Okay, so he still has Ruth sold. Ruth thinks this man is there to talk to them nicely and to welcome them. Oh, no, no, no. See, what's going on here, ladies and gentlemen, is he has now mentioned that people get hurt, and he doesn't want the Linders to get hurt. I'm sorry, the Youngers to get hurt. Oh, no, no, no. So I believe he's threatening them in a non-threatening way, right? And he can even say, I never threatened them. Well, actually, I believe he is. And he's also saying, well, what people really need to do is just sit down and talk things out. Now, most people would read that as when people sit down and talk things out, they work it out, they fix things, and they're done. Oh, no, no, no. That's not what Mr. Linder means at all. He means we're going to sit down and talk it out. And at the end of talking out, you're going to listen to me, and I'm going to tell you not to live with us because you're not good enough for us. So for Mr. Linder, talking it out means white people talk, black people listen. White people rule and black people obey. That's what Linder means when he says talk it out. Linder doesn't mean talk it out at all, not even a little bit. Now, I think Walter now understands this finally. Benita definitely does. Does Ruth. Here we go. Ruth. Now, that's right. Walter merely watched and listened to genuine interest. Yes, that's the way we feel out in Clybourne Park. And that's why I was elected to come here this afternoon and talk to you people. Friendly like, the way, there it is again, to you people. Friendly like, the way people should talk to each other and see if we couldn't find some way to work this thing out. As I say, the whole business is a matter of caring about the other fellow. Anybody can see that you were a nice family of folks, hardworking and honest, I'm sure. Benita frowned slightly, quizzically, her head tilted regarding him. So you got to love Benita. She's not smiling and saying, yes, you're right, sir. She's literally shaking her head at the crap that he's telling them, and she's frowning in his face. Got to love it. So if he looks over Benita, which he will, he knows she's not buying it. So let's see how he reacts. Let's go. Today, everybody knows what it means to be on the outside of something. And of course, there is always somebody who is out to take advantage of people who don't always understand. Now, did you hear that? There is always somebody out who is out to take advantage of people who don't always understand. I think, again, he's trying to threaten them. See, you don't understand that you shouldn't come to my neighborhood, and because you don't understand, something bad might happen to you. Let's continue. Walter, what do you mean? Linder, well, you see, our community is made up of people who worked hard as the dickens for years to build up that little community. They're not rich and fancy people, just hardworking, honest people who don't really have much but those little homes and a dream of the kind of community they want to raise their children in. Now, I don't say we are perfect, and there is a lot wrong in some of the things they want. But you've got to admit that a man, right or wrong, has the right to want to have the neighborhood he lives in a certain kind of way. And at the moment, the overwhelming majority of our people out there feel that people get along better, take more of a common interest in the life of the community when they share a common background. I want you to believe me when I tell you that race prejudice simply doesn't enter into it. It is a matter of the people of Clybourne Park believing, rightly or wrongly, as I say, that for the happiness of all concerned, that our Negro families are happier when they live in their own communities. OMG. Did you hear what he just said? Now there's no denying it. Before he was kind of nice talking and this and that. Now he came out straight up and said, we don't want you in our neighborhood. You're not going to be happy in our neighborhood. And we're certainly not happy having you there, so you shouldn't come. Now, Gotta love Benita. This is another one of my favorite Benita quotes with a grand and bitter gesture. This, friends, is the welcoming committee. So she's mocking this man because he is certainly not welcoming them. In fact, he just told them, don't show up because you're black. Walter, dumbfounded, looking at Linda. Is this what you came marching all the way over here to tell us? Oh, I think Walter just figured it out. Linda, well, now we've been having a fine conversation. I hope you hear me all the way through. Walter, tightly. Go ahead, man. Linda, you see, in the face of all the things I have said, we are prepared to make your family a very generous offer. Benita, and now is the quote of quotes for Benita. She says 30 pieces and not a coin less. I'm going to say this again. Linda says, you see, in the face of all the things I have said, we are prepared to make your family a very generous offer. So Linda's actually offering them money. Now we're finding out that he wants to pay them not to come into the neighborhood. Now, I believe from the way it sounds, he's even offering more money that they paid down, more than the $3,500 Mama paid down. And Benita's answer, how symbolic is this answer? She says 30 pieces and not a coin less. Does anybody know what she is referring to? She is implying that this man is treating them like slaves. 30 pieces and not a coin less. She is referring to the purchase of a black person as a slave. She is saying that this man is treating them that way because he is insinuating that they are worthy, that they can be bought in that regard. And Benita is I guess her answer to him is, we will not be bought like that. And gosh bless you, gotta love Benita. Walter says, yeah? Linda, putting on his glasses and drawing a form out of the briefcase. Our association is prepared through the collective effort of our people to buy the house from you at a financial gain to your family. Lord have mercy. Ain't this the living gall? Walter, all right, you through? Linda, well, I want to give you the exact terms of the financial arrangement. Walter, we don't want to hear no exact terms, no arrangements. I want to know if you got any more to tell me about us getting together. Linda, taking off his glasses. Well, I don't suppose that you feel. Never mind how I feel. You got any more to say about how people ought to sit down and talk to each other? Get out of my house, man. See, gotta love Walter too. He doesn't even listen to the bride. He says, I don't care how much you're offering. You were in here talking about unity, about getting together. You're not here to get together at all. You're here to push us apart. Out of my home. He turns his back and walks to the door. Linda, looking around at the hostile faces and reaching and assembling his hat and briefcase. See, again, at the hostile faces. So they're all looking at him with hostility. He just came in and said that they were less than people, that they weren't good enough to live in his neighborhood. Well, I don't understand why you people are reacting this way. What do you think you're going to gain by moving into a neighborhood where you just aren't wanted and where some elements, well, people can get awful worked up when they feel that their whole way of life and everything they've ever worked for is threatened. Guys, gals, I actually think that was kind of a threat right there. Listen to what he said again. He says, what do you think you're going to gain by moving into a neighborhood where you just aren't wanted and where some elements, in other words, some people in our neighborhood, well, people can get awful worked up when they feel that their whole way of life and everything they've ever worked for is threatened. Walter, get out. Linda at the door holding a small card. Well, I'm sorry it went like this. Get out. Linda, almost sadly, regarding Walter. You just can't force people to change their hearts, son. He turns and puts his card on the table and exits. Walter pushes the door to with stinging hatred and stands looking at it. Ruth just sits and Benita just stands. They say nothing. Mama and Travis enter. So they're still standing at the door, dealing with this, being treated the way that they were just treated by this awful person, being treated and told that they were less than human beings. So they are rightfully and righteously angry right now. And of course, as always, because this is the way this play is, remember, people walk in at the right times, but that's the way life is. You walk in at just the wrong time, right? Mama and Travis come in, and Mama senses right away when she sees them that something is wrong. Watch, Mama. Well, this all the packing got done since I left out of here this morning? I testified before God that my children got all the energy of the dead. What time the moving men do? Benita, 4 o'clock. You had a caller, Mama. She is smiling teasingly. Sure enough, who? Benita, her arms folded saucily. The welcoming committee. Walter and Ruth giggle. Now they laugh because, of course, that man was not welcoming. Mama innocently. So Mama doesn't know that there's anything wrong yet, but watch how quickly she picks up. Mama innocently. Who? Benita, the welcoming committee. They said they're sure going to be glad to see you when you get there. Walter, devilishly, yeah, they said they can hardly wait to see your face. Laughter. Mama, sensing their facetiousness. What's the matter with you all? Walter, ain't nothing the matter with us. We're just telling you about the gentleman who came to see you this afternoon from the Clybourne Park Improvement Association. What do you want? Ruth, excuse me, in the same mood as Benita and Walter. To welcome you, honey. So they're so angry now. They're not really making jokes so much as they're dealing with their anger in this joking way. They're being sarcastic, right? And Walter says, he said they can't hardly wait. He said the one thing they don't have, the thing they just dying to have out there is a fine family of fine colored people. To Ruth and Benita, ain't that right? Ruth mockingly, yeah, he left his card. Benita handing the card to Mama in case. I'm gonna read this next thing and then I'm done. Mama reads it and throws it on the floor, understanding and looking off as she draws her chair up to the table on which she has put her plan and some sticks and cord. Guys and gals, this is where I'll stop. I'll pick it up here tomorrow. Mama understands instantly once they start telling her these facetious things that they're excited to have a fine family of colored people. They're just dying to see your face in their neighborhood. Mama understands because Mama has dealt with this type of racism and worse her entire life. Remember, she was born in the 1880s, 1890s. So she knows instantly what's going on here, that they are dealing with this awful racist and prejudice from white society and white government, right? And now she's dealing with it again. So how is she going to react to it? That's the question we're going to have to see when we pick it up tomorrow, when we pick up assignment number 7. So now assignment number 6 is done. You should have all of assignment 6 questions answered. Have a great day. Thank you very much.